Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're in Roebuck, South Carolina at the beautiful Dorman Arena as we get ready for the third place game here at the Farm Bureau Insurance Classic. We'll have the Dorman Cavaliers, the home team, the host team, taking on the visitors, the Newton Rams. Newton, they'll win the tip. They'll have on all blue with the white numbers. Dorman, they'll be wearing all white with the light blue and black trim. And it'll be a steal, and Miles Tate will push it the other way. Miles Tate going coast to coast. Miles Tate, he'll get fouled. And Tate will go to the line, and Tate will shoot two.
You know, it's been a tale of a couple days for Dorman. It was Tate that was key and very instrumental in their opening round win, got them into the semis yesterday. But then we saw with that particular matchup, they really went into Gabe Bryant, heavy dosage of Gabe Bryant early on. It'll be interesting to see the game plan here for Coach Ryan, because I don't think they'll go to Gabe Bryant as much with Dre Butler in there today.
Dre Butler is a force down there in the paint. He's a big guy. Dre Butler, a football player, multiple scholarships. I heard that the University of Alabama, or Alabama University, however you want to say it, was at Newton High School last week, asking a couple questions about Dre Butler. Ashton Hagans now, he's the All-American point guard. It'll be a turnover there. Partner get it. Now he'll send it off to Finley. Finley sends it over to Cameron Smith. Cameron getting the start tonight. Dre Butler get the foul to start things off. Cameron Smith getting the start, replacing Trey Downing. Trey Downing won't be starting tonight.
So two trips up the floor for Dorman and 2 trips to the charity stripe. Not something you want to do early as far as having them shoot this many free throws if you're Newton.
No, sir.
You definitely don't want Dre Butler getting into foul trouble. That's just his first foul, but I mean, we're not a full minute in, and Coach Rasmussen subs him out.
No need to let the big man get in foul trouble. Cameron Smith knocks down the first one. He won't get the second one. Hagans will get it, and Hagans will push it up court. Quick pass up court. Foul on the line. Sean Butler got in the game, and now he'll get on the line. Just that quick.
Seen with both of these teams, we've seen guys start off with nice dunks, alley-oops, splashing threes. So we got an exhilarating start to this one with trips to the free throw line coming on both sides early on.
Change of pace from what we're used to between these two teams. Second free throw, no good. Now Tate will walk it up the court. Send it over to Finley. Finley being guarded by Harris. Harris on the top of that zone. 2-3 zone is what Newton's going to give you. Nope, Newton's playing man-to-man. They're going to switch on the man. Tate will have it. Tate crossing over. Tate kicks it over to Finley. Finley going to the lane, no good. Trey Clark. Trey will push it up court. Trey hands it back to Hagans. Ashton, the recent UGA commit. What can Brown? Nope, can't do that for me. Ball will go the other way.
It was a good look there to Bryant, but in terms of the placement of that bounce pass, a little too low. And also Ashton Hagans was right there. He has sized that up perfectly. He has impeccable timing on the defensive end.
Yes, sir. Coach Mark Fox was a happy man when Ashton decided he wanted to go to UGA. Ball stripped away by Tate. Now Tate is pushing up court. Hands it over to Parton. Parton whirling dervish. He'll be fouled. And Parton will go to the line. And Parton will shoot two.
Ashton Hagans not happy with the call. Didn't say much, but you can see him moving his mouth a little bit, talking to the official there. Kind of feels like that was a bailout call. It was a bailout. Unfortunately, there was some contact there on the shot. Even though Parton was under the goal, I think he might have even had his eyes closed on that one. But ends up going to the free throw line.
He knocks down the first one.
a local hero of sorts there in that opening round game. He came off a curl and nailed a three late to give them the lead that they ended up winning.
Cameron Smith got the rebound, but it was tapped out of bounds. It'll still be Dorman ball. Cavaliers up 4-1, just over 6 minutes to go. Cavaliers want to set things up on offense. They'll send it over to Finley. Finley gives it to Smith. Gabe is working on the block. They'll get it to him down low. Being guarded by Marnie Harris. Tate goes up high and saves it. Now send it back to Tate. Tate looking at the pick from Bryant. Bryant rolls to the basket. Tate sends it over to Parton. Parton, no good. High rebound by Cameron Smith. They're going to call over the back foul.
So you saw even there Dorman going inside, working it to Gabe Bryant. He had Armani Harris matched up against him with Higgins coming over the top.
Ooh. Thought he got it clean, but they're going to call foul on that one. Tyler Glover in the game.
All right, Mr. Officials. I think the first couple calls were easy calls. It's not on them, but I think that over-the-back call, I kept the tongue in cheek. Thought it was just a good rebound, even though he was behind the player. I think it was one of those where they just called the over-the-back just because he got the rebound after being behind the guy that was in front of him. But between that and that last little ticky-tack foul there, I'd like the officials to kind of slow down a little bit.
Slow down, Mr. Official. You're not the star of the broadcast.
Yeah, we got Higgins, we got Miles Tate, we got Tyrese Brown.
And Sylvester Williams.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. True star of the broadcast, myself. Here we go. Finley going to the hole. Finley, no good. Harris with the rebound. Now they'll push it up court. Bounce pass. Doesn't quite make it. Trey Clark will turn it over. Now he'll dribble into the trap. Trey Clark will steal it. Trey going to the hole. Trey up and underneath. Basket for Trey Clark. Now Finley wants to set the offense up. Give it to Peppers. Peppers is fouled by Higgins.
It seems like they are trying to set a tone early in terms of reaching, not even reaching for it to be a foul. Reaching, they're getting you with it.
Referees definitely slowing the pace of this game up. Now Finley will set up his offense.
Keep in mind, Higgins, I don't think he picked up his first foul until there were like 2 minutes left in the third quarter in yesterday's game.
Tate, no good. Now Higgins pushing the flow. Higgins going to the basket, no good. Now Tate will go the other way. Tate sends it out to Parton. Parton gathers it. Finley over to Parton. Parton to go baseline, kicks it over to Tate. Tate, three ball. Miles Tate for three. Three minutes, 15 seconds. Higgins will have it. Higgins calls for the pick from Harris. He doesn't need it. Sends it over to Brown. Brown back to Clark. Gives it to Harris down low. Harris with the up and under. Nice post move. Stripped away from Parton by Parton.
Parton, a nice job of reaching in there. Got the assist on the other end. Him to Miles Tate is usually the other way around.
Tyrese Brown from downtown. Tyrese, one of the best shooters in the state of Georgia. He could knock down that open three. Miles Tate from the other side. Tate! Give him 3 points. And an Emmy while you're at it.
Let's see, back-to-back.
Both corners. Miles Tate.
Tyrese Brown just, I mean, just holds his arms to the sky. Like, man, I knocked down way too many threes for me to be silly enough to foul a guy that's shooting a three. You know, I just got a hand up and contested it. But Tatum sold it. Tate sold it. Give him credit.
They'll hand it off to Clark. Now Clark sends it over to Tyler. Now Ashton has it in the corner. Tyler catches it up top. Ashton. Armani Harris wants it in the post. Armani being guarded by PJ. Kicks it over to Brown. No good. Amari gets the rebound. Hard dribble. Puts it back up with the spin move. Baby hook. Armani Harris.
Armani Harris, man, I think people see his ability to finish. They see his length and what he does for Newton. I still think he should be talked about more in the state when you look at what he can do on both ends.
Tried to get it down low to Peppers. It'll go out of bounds, and it'll be Newton ball. Armani is just a junior. Young man, he'll be back next year. They got him listed at 6'6", but I think he grew since the season started. He's about 6'7".
He's trying to take it to the sophomore P.J. Hall. They're on the block.
P.J. Hall's in there guarding him. P.J. played with a brace on his knee the first two games. He doesn't have that brace anymore. Armani, he'll get fouled and go to the line.
All right, man. You know Bill Dolan's our guy, man. You got to get Armani right, or else he's gonna be waiting on us next time we do that Grayson versus Newton matchup. Armani Mello Harris. I'm guessing that middle name has something to do with the Mello moniker.
Mello will knock down that free throw. Knocks that one down too. One-point ball game. Dorman on top of Newton. Miles Tate tried to sell that one, couldn't get it. Higgins stops, foot on the line. Bow! Bottom of the net. Ashton Higgins.
He shot it well here in Spartanburg, or Roebuck, we should say.
PJ from long range. Brown gets the rebound. Higgins feeling it. Higgins step back on him. He gets his own rebound. Sends it back over to Brown.
2 for $1.
3 ball. Tyrese Brown. Cameron Smith going to the hole. No foul whatsoever. And Coach Rassman is over there. My goodness, Coach Rass is definitely letting the referees know how he felt.
I mean, you can understand the rationale. He's like, I've had a ticky-tack foul called against Higgins. I got to sit Dre Butler down, and then I can't get that foul call.
And did they call? Yep, now they're going to call. That's the makeup call.
Yeah, that's the makeup, yeah.
That's the makeup call. They're going to call that one on P.J. Hall. Called over the back. 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Oh, what a bullet pass. Another pass. Amari Harris throws it down for 2. Amari Harris. Long range 3. No good. And here we are at the end of the first quarter. The score, 17-11. 17-11 at the Farm Bureau Insurance Classic.
Okay, Brett, safety and car insurance.
Never scored a safety. That's defense. But go on, please.
Yeah, defensive. That's exactly how you should drive.
There is no such thing as a defensive drive. Offense makes the drive.
Oh, I mean, when you're on the road.
But it doesn't matter, home or away.
Okay, clearly I'm striking out here.
That's baseball.
Get great home and auto rates and local agents at favorites.com from Farm Bureau Insurance.
All right, we're back here live. Second quarter, started the second quarter, score 17-11. Newton on top of Dorman here at the FBI Classic. I'm Sylvester Williams. He's Marcus Burnett. Going to the hole. Gabe will pick it up. Gabe Bryant for two.
A nice assist there by the speedster Smith as well.
Gabe Bryant, the Gardner-Webb commit. Throw it in the corner, 3-ball, shoots it long. Going to the hole, Jawan Johnson challenge, but he knows, doesn't matter. Miles Tate for two.
So he's a tough shot maker. Easily one of the best tough shot makers in the state.
Sends it back out. Tyler doesn't get it. PJ with the rebound. Now Tate will bring it up court. Tate gets it down low to Bryant. Bryant fall away. Ooh, hard off the backboard. Oh, Ashton dribbles it off his teammate's leg. Cameron Smith with it. Cameron dribbling. Cameron being D'd up. And we got a timeout.
30-second timeout.
Like that defense there by Glover.
Tyler Glover all over Cameron Smith. Not only we're used to seeing Tyler Glover coming off the bench and being quick offense. What do you say, Vinnie Johnson, the microwave?
Hey, that's the new version of Vinnie Johnson, the microwave, man.
Now he's coming out playing some defense. Checking out a few of those replays brought to you by the Dorman audio visual staff, their media staff. The young kids at Dorman have been clutch all weekend, helping with the production.
Still no Dre Butler for Newton.
All he has is one foul, too, am I right?
Yeah, just one foul.
All right, Finley will have it now. Finley wants to set his offense up, picks up his dribble, hands it off to Tate. Tate being guarded by Hagan. No, sorry, being guarded by Clark. Miles Tate is scoring every way possible. Tate has 13 points.
Seen it at all three levels. Knocked down a couple threes early on, got to the rack a play ago, and the last time the mid-range.
13 points in the first half for Miles Tate.
Ashton Hagans isn't guarding him yet. It's I want to see how long we go before he ends up taking that assignment.
Harris with the jumper. Harris comes up way short. Now Hagans will push it up court. Hagans spins. Hagans with the scoop lay in. 2 points. Ashton Hagans. Oh my goodness, what a crossover. Doesn't finish. And they call foul.
Dorman faithful were ready to lose it on that one. And Glover is kind of used to doing this to guys. Not having it done to him.
It's different when you're on the other end of one of those.
At the end of the day, the shot wasn't hit. So that's defense by Glover. Shot wasn't made.
Nice pass underneath the lay-in for two. Tyrese Brown. Tyrese usually a long-range assassin, showing he can do it from up close. Taylor handed over to PJ. PJ tries to feed Peppers. And that'll be foul number 2 on Ashton Hagens.
He's got to watch it.
Oh, and he got a check.
I was just going to say he's got to watch it, because even if he's not saying that much, he's saying stuff, period.
And that's foul number 3 with the tech.
Because there were 2 bad calls against him that he was involved in. One, a foul he didn't get. Another one was a ticky-tack foul that should have been a foul call, and he kind of said a little something. And so that particular official knew if he said something after that call that T would be coming. So that's three fouls now for Hagens.
And now you can see the official going over there in the background talking to Coach Rass, explaining what's going on. Peppers missed the first free throw. You don't usually see too many technicals in the, in these classics and stuff like that, these holiday tournaments. But these games mean something.
They do.
Highly emotional game.
That's why the art of officiating, I like to see officials that at the end of the day, you do have to respect the position. But I've seen an official kind of go to a player and say, "Now, look, that's enough. I'm not going to have the dialogue with you. We're not going to do that." At least kind of, versus just throwing the T out there. But we're not right there to hear everything that's being said. So, he might have given that warning.
Tate knocks down the second one.
But I know this much. Dre Butler only has 1 foul. Ashton Hagens now has 3. And we have not made it to halftime yet. So a little bit of adversity being faced here by Newton. We'll see how the guys finish out the second quarter.
And I'm pretty sure this 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go, this will be the last that we'll see of Hagens until the third quarter. Tate going baseline, kicks it back out to Harris. Harris picks it up, go to the hole, left hand. P.J. Hall. P.J. Hall with the follow. And Dorman takes the lead. Get it down low to Marnie. Back out top to Tyrese. Tyrese Brown. Tyrese Brown, the dream killer. Knocking down the 3.
So this Dorman Arena crowd, don't get too excited.
Parton, ooh, hard off the backboard. Glover out and running. Glover lost it, kicks it back out to Brown. Brown, pump fake, puts it up. Brown! Tyrese Brown with his 4th three-pointer.
Telling you, just his swagger right now is who's up next. Butler picked up an early foul. Ashton has 3. Who's up next? It appears to be Tyrese Brown.
Now Tyrese guarding Parton. Parton goes to the hole. Parton with the left-hand lay-in. Ethan Parton.
Like Parton, man.
Now let's see what Newton does. Do they send Tyrese around off a pick because he's the hot man? There
Time for a Brown heat check.
Heat check, that's what that was. And he falls down. Looking for the foul, trying to get the foul. Miles Tate with the lay-in.
Assistant there, they let some contact go on both sides there. Thought they could have called that foul. Tate could have easily gotten an and one there.
And Glover dribbled it off his foot.
Newton might not be able to realize it right now, but from the outside looking in, for us just seeing it, this is how you get better by playing in these types of tournaments, these types of events. Got some things stacked against him right now, and Dorman playing well.
3 ball, top of the key. No good. Dre Butler with the rebound. Now Glover. Glover will walk it up. He'll hand it over to Clark. Now back to Glover. Glover handed over to Trey Clark. Trey going to the lane. Trey blocked by PJ. Oh, he called foul. I can't figure the refs out.
I can't either because it seemed like It seemed like he blocked that one cleanly.
I thought he got all ball.
I'm kind of at that point to where I'm done trying to figure it out. I guess we'll just call and give our 2 cents accordingly. But I can't crack the code here as far as the refs early on.
Trey misses the first free throw. Sean Butler coming back in the game. Second free throw will fall in for Trey Clark. Tate will have it. Tate crosses over, loses the handle. Tate turns around and finds himself open. P.J. Hall with the smart heads-up play. Throws it off the legs of Sean Butler.
It's a good hustle play there by P.J. Final minute. Right under 2 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. Even though Miles Tate has done a good job of scoring, wouldn't be surprised if they really go to Gabe Bryant a few times here in this final minute 50 or so.
Send it back out. Now P.J. Hall will have it. Butler and Bryant fighting down low on the block. Butler will get it. Now, here's Glover. Glover attacking P.J. Hall. And Hall hit him with the body. They're going to call a foul on P.J. Hall.
Let's take another look at that one. You see Glover's going to take it right at the body of the big fella.
And that's what you want out of your small guard. Make sure he takes it right at him.
Take it right at the chest, and not only initiates the contact in terms of possibly drawing a foul, but even if you don't get the foul, going right at that chest kind of limits the reach of the defender in terms of being able to block that shot. But for Hall, he still had enough length to where even with the chest blow, he was still able to get a hand on it. But Glover gets to the line.
Glover knocks down both of his free throws.
Oh, he knocks his free throws down.
Oh yeah.
Remember that Grayson Newton game where they hit Armani Melo Harris's hand, and Glover came in, knocked him down like a cool customer.
30 to 26, 30 to 26. Newton on top of Dorman. Now Brown will have it up top. He'll give it out to Tate. Tate sends it over to Parton. Parton working off the dribble. Fakes it to Tate. Now back to Tate. Tate looking for the pick from Bryant. Peppers. No respect for Peppers' outside shot. Tate going to the hole. Tate tried to draw the foul, couldn't get it.
And he drew it. That appeared to be a foul. Because it wasn't just arm straight up. The defender kind of slid in the Tate, but I don't know what a foul is here in this contest.
They're going to call foul on that one.
And again, it hasn't just been one-sided. I think just on both sides there have just been some no calls and some calls that are kind of questionable. You know, it's not an easy job to officiate, but it's not like we're talking about bang, charge or block calls full speed. I mean, some of these things are just really right in front of them, and it's just tough because with both teams, it's hard to really kind of gauge how you can play. If I'm a defender like an Ashton Hagans, I can't really play my full defensive game because I'm not sure how they're calling it. Same thing with a Miles Tate or a P.J. Hall.
Trey Clark will set his offense up. He'll give it over to Glover. Glover sends it back to Brown. Now to Glover. saving it for one shot.
I'm thinking this is going to end up, when it's all said and done, it's going to end up with a Tyrese Brown 3.
8 seconds. 4. Tyrese Brown, no good. Rebound tried to go up by Amari Harris. No good. And here we are at the end of the first half. The score 30-28. 30-28. Newton on top.
Thought Brown was going to make me look like Nostradamus for a second.
He almost did, Marcus. You call that one and just missed it.
Okay, Brett, with Farm Bureau, you're getting local agents, great auto rates, and fast, friendly claims.
You guys cover all kinds of stuff, right?
Sure do.
Tractors?
Yep.
RVs, SUVs, ATVs, boats, the gunslinger?
Absolutely. Wait, what is the gunslinger?
Want to ride?
Yes.
FaveRates.com from Farm Bureau.
Founders is committed to community involvement within our schools and student athletic programs, and it's a commitment we continue to establish, embody, and embrace for the long haul. Because at Founders Federal Credit Union, we understand how busy your day can be, and worrying about your financial matters shouldn't slow you down. So go ahead, keep cheering your team on to another win. After all, you've got enough on your plate. Relax. You're with Founders.
do. All right, welcome back, welcome back. Second half action here at the Farm Bureau Insurance Classic in Roebuck, South Carolina at the beautiful Dorman Arena. Right now, Newton has a 2-point lead against the host Dorman Cavaliers. I'm joined in the booth today by South Carolina. Oh, my goodness. They called charge, and that's foul number 4 on Ashton Higgins, just that quick. I'm joined in the booth by South Carolina legend, a champion from C.A. Johnson High School in long time ago. C.A. Johnson High School, a University of South Carolina Gamecock legend, the director of city parks and recreation in Columbia, South Carolina, an all-around basketball guy, the announcer for radio, 3-ball from the corner, no good. The announcer for radio and television for the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. They call him the mayor of Columbia area basketball. Mr. Kerry Rich, how you doing today, Mr. Rich?
I'm doing wonderful, It's always a good time when I'm in the gym able to watch some good high school basketball. So anytime I get the opportunity to do that, it's a wonderful, wonderful day.
Well, it is a great pleasure to have you here, have you on SUV TV as we watch some of this exciting basketball. Marty Harris, he just got fouled and he went to the line and knocked down that little turnaround layup. But, yeah, speaking of being in the gym, man, one thing about this FBI Classic, man, we got to see some talented kids out here tonight. A lot of future players who could make some money playing this game.
And that's why I'm here. Heard about the young man, Miles Tate, who just missed the floater there. A lot of people are going to look at his size from Dorman and probably be somewhat discouraged because of his size, but for him it doesn't matter. He has that it factor with that ice water running through his veins, and he's really, really good. And he's just one of many talented basketball players on the courts there.
You know, it's amazing you talk about that it factor. You know, some people just have it. You know, you can't even tell what that it factor is. It's just it. And that's exactly what it is. Young man helped lead Dorman to a state championship last year as a freshman. He's just a sophomore, about 15, 16 years old. So hopefully he might grow 2 or 3 more inches before it's all said and done.
And that's the $64,000 question. How much more is he going to grow? And I was at a basketball event 2 weeks ago in Columbia, and they were also playing an event in Columbia across town, and 2 of the coaches that were in the gym came over to the event I was at and said, "Hey, Kerry, have you ever seen the young man Miles Tate from Dorman, sophomore?" I said, "I haven't." He said, "Well, you need to make a special trip to Spartanburg." And you know, these were 2 coaches from the SEC and the ACC. I won't call their names, but 2 high-level coaches that told me I needed to make a special trip to Spartanburg, and that's why I'm here today.
I understand. I understand, man. He's one of these kids you want to get on while he's young and get on him early, because he will definitely be. You know, we talk about that potential. We have on the other side of the ball, you have Ashton Higgins. Oh, backboard, the bank was open. You know, it's Saturday, 6:30. The bank's supposed to be closed for Trey Clark. But, you know, when you talk about potential and growth potential, have a guy like Ashton Higgins. Higgins is a junior, but in his future, he's one of those guys that people can see as a McDonald's All-American type player. But when you look at Miles Tate and you see his game, I know this is your first time seeing him, but in order for him to make those steps to that national level, what do you think young Tate needs to do?
Well, you know, that's all subjective, and I think name recognition has a lot to do with that. Playing on a team that has some track record of success, playing on a team that happens to play in many of the big name tournaments, so to speak, because it's all about timing. It's all about getting the right set of eyes on you. And for him, he's certainly become a commodity in the state of South Carolina. We'll see what happens, whether he's a McDonald's All-American or not. It's not going to change my opinion on how good of a basketball player he is. I'm watching him right now, and again, he has that it factor, and I am enjoying watching not only him but his entire team, Dorman High School, and both teams on the floor right now.
Yes, sir. Oh, Gabe tried to go and follow that one up, didn't get it. Tyrese Brown coming down, and it'll go out of bounds. You just saw Dre Butler, the big man, step outside and hit the three-pointer. Now, I know you see Dre Butler over there, and, you know, Kerry, I'm going to tell you, he's a big guy, and, yes, he plays football.
Yes, he is a big guy. You know, that's become the thing these days. Back when we came through, the big men were taught to put your feet on the block, back to the basket, post moves, right-hand jump hook, left-hand jump hook, and you stay your behind in that lane. Now it's the complete opposite. If you can't play from the perimeter, if you can't play from the elbow, that pinch post area, then you're not a good post player. And blame Kevin Garnett for changing the game. He's the guy that kind of started it. He initiated it, and from that point forward, he became the one guy that everyone tried to emulate.
Upstate's very own Kevin Garnett. And when people say Chicago, I get mad. I got to let them know quick. He's from the upstate of South Carolina. He's from Malden. 3-ball Miles Tate. You know, Kerry.
He just plays with the calmness. He plays with a savvy, with an understanding, plays with a great feel for how to play. He's always in control. He's never rushed. And from what I'm told, he's been playing varsity since he's been in the 8th grade.
Since the 8th
Not
grade.
only just playing varsity, but he's been making big shots since the 8th grade. And, you know, those aren't players that are easily found. Those are players that kind of come along every now and again, and he seems to be one.
He's definitely one, you know. I want to go back to your big man story. Look at Dre working on the inside. Amari gets the rebound. Amari Harris puts it back up and puts it in. I'm going to go one of my favorite big man stories of all time. When Coach Kyle Calipari was coaching at UMass, he had a young freshman come in by the name of Marcus Camby. Coach Camby said, Coach Cal, I want to play guard. I think I should play guard. And Coach Cal was like, sure, you can play guard. But in my program, we post up all our guards.
And Marcus Camby ended up having a pretty good basketball career at UMass and also had a long run in the NBA. And I actually played against that UMass team right before Marcus Camby got there. It was John Calipari's. It was the subsequent year after he made his first Sweet 16 run with UMass and got a chance to play against those guys in Massachusetts at the Abdal Classic, Hall of Fame Abdal Classic. And that was they were pretty good back then.
They were pretty good. Massachusetts was pretty good. And, you know, one thing I remember, I would love going to the old Frank McGuire, the Frank McGuire Arena. Now, I know some of our fans in Newton might not know what they're talking about, but our fans in Dorman definitely know. The Carolina Coliseum, the Frank McGuire Arena, watching the Gamecocks play in the old Metro Conference.
Yes, the old Metro, Cincinnati, Tulane. Actually, Tulane was one of my finalists in terms of schools that I chose from. Tulane was one of the finalists. Perry Clark, quick story, Perry Clark, who was the head coach at Tulane then, is now one of the assistant coaches at South Carolina.
Small world.
Small world.
Small world.
And I spent a lot of time around that basketball program, coming off of a magical run, getting to the Final Four. Frank Martin did a tremendous job, and being able to get it done with two South Carolina guys leading the way in P.J. Dozier and Sindarius Thornwell. Unbelievable following, unbelievable level of excitement generated following this basketball team to Greenville, New York, and Phoenix. What an unbelievable run.
And, you know, the selfish part of me being a USC grad, the selfish part of me, Kerry, I wanted to see P.J. come back for 1 year. That was the selfish part of me, but it's just congratulations on that young man for going to the NBA and establishing himself. I think he's in the G League.
He's
now.
in the G League and actually playing very, very well. But let me tell you about the team that he's with, the organization that he's with, Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder was the one team that scouted him more than any other team in the NBA over the last couple of years. And they actually wanted to draft him in the early 50s, but at the time his representation thought there was another opportunity with the Lakers that was better, so they opted against getting drafted. But as soon as it was kind of known that he was not going to last at Dallas, Oklahoma City again with Sam Presti, who, by the way, spent about a week in Columbia during South Carolina's basketball season, following PJ and just recruiting him. They wanted him badly, which speaks to an opportunity to grow and develop in a culture that's going to make sure he becomes a better player. So that's the positive thing. Much like you, I would have loved for him to come back, but I also understand the other side of it. And the other side being, if you look at the NBA draft the last 10 years and you look at players that have stayed longer than their sophomore years, those numbers aren't very high. And I think that was in the back of his mind.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of people brought up the story to me. And, you know, when I was pushing, I was like, oh, PJ should stay one more year. Stay one more year. A lot of people brought up one of my most favorite, Trey Clark going to the lane for two, one of my most favorite USC players ever, B.J. Mackey.
B.J. Mackey, yeah.
If B.J. would have left out after his junior year. Nice follow by Peppers. Peppers working on the inside. Peppers gets two.
Nice usage of the left hand down there in that paint. That's something else that we don't see a whole lot from our bigs that we used to see back in our day, being able to use either hand around the basket, right hand, left hand. It's just so much more advantageous to be able to use both hands near that basket. And, you know, not only are the bigs doing it right now, Sly, but some of the smaller guys, the guards, also learning to use either hand in the form of floaters.
And, you know, my favorite thing, I love it. Every time I see it, I say, left hand layup on the left-hand side. You know, it shouldn't be that big of a shock when I see it. It shouldn't be. But
not only that, though, even when you're dribbling on the left-hand side of the floor, it should be your left hand handling the basketball. And I learned that as a 9-year-old playing summer league basketball down in Drew Park in Columbia, South Carolina, and I never, ever forgot it.
Drew Park. Drew Park. Oh, my goodness, you're bringing back memories. I played at Drew Park myself. A little bit after you, I played for Fred. I don't know
Fred Buxton.
Fred Buxton. I couldn't remember Fred last
Buxton,
name.
who's now deceased.
Yes, he passed away.
Fred Buxton and Mike Brown.
Mm-hmm. And Mike Brown, yes. Oh, man, he bringing up memories, Karen. Oh, I remember those days out at Drew Park. I drove by, went back home this summer, went back to Columbia, didn't even recognize Saxon Holmes anymore. Is it Cecilia Gardens, anything now?
Celia Saxon.
Celia Saxon, oh, man. Those were the days. As I said earlier, Kerry Rich was a former C.A. Johnson Hornet, took C.A. Johnson to a state championship. Rebound, fought for, brought down. Sean Butler get it now. Tyrell Glover, I'm all tongue twisted. Tyler Glover will have it.
What a great event by Dorman and Farm Bureau Insurance Company to bring this type of talent to the upstate. Of course, I'm from Columbia. I'm a part of the Chick-fil-A Classic, and to have that take place last week and be able to follow it up with such an event in the upstate, what a wonderful idea and great job by Thomas Ryan, the head basketball coach at Dorman and the Farm Bureau Insurance Company.
And you know, this is one of the jewels. You know, Chick-fil-A always has that big spotlight, because deservedly so. Because when you're bringing in that top 10 type talent that they have,
it's a destination.
It's a destination event. Because I remember when we were coming up, it was all about beach ball.
Right.
It was all about the beach ball classic down in Myrtle Beach. But Chick-fil-A has took over that spot. But then you have Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau up here at the beautiful Dorman Gym. Excuse me, I said Dorman Gym, and that is an insult.
It is an insult
to Dorman. It's Dorman Arena.
Yes. You know, I in between games, one of the assistant coaches took me on a tour, and I just kept asking myself, are you sure this is a high school?
Yeah.
It is almost unfair when you think about and see the amenities that are afforded for these young people at the school, the athletic facility. I was even told that before Clemson and South Carolina redid their weight rooms, that this was the largest weight room in the state of South Carolina. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Oh, P.J. Hall from long range. The young sophomore showing his range.
He's pretty good. He's also a prospect. I know Warford is in on him a lot. They've had him on campus several times, but he's also a young man that's been able to generate some value and generate some interest when it comes to some of the schools in the area.
Yes, sir, young P.J. Hall. But, yeah, you see some of the amenities and everything that they have here, and you talk about USC and South Carolina having the update. You talk about that scoreboard they had on the football field. At one time, they had the third largest HD scoreboard in the Southeast.
It's almost unfair again.
3-ball, Parton. Ethan Parton knocks down the three. 2 seconds to go, 1 second, and he'll heave at half court, and it doesn't count because it doesn't go. The score, 50-44, 50-44. We're at the Farm Bureau Insurance Classic going into the fourth quarter. We'll take a quick commercial break.
Okay, Brett, with Farm Bureau, you're getting local agents, great auto rates, and fast, friendly claims.
You guys cover all kinds of stuff, right?
Sure do.
Tractors?
Yep.
RVs, SUVs, ATVs, boats, the gunslinger?
Absolutely. Wait, what is the gunslinger?
Want to ride?
Yes.
Favorites.com from Farm Bureau.
Founders is committed to community involvement within our schools and student athletic programs. And it's a commitment we continue to establish, embody, and embrace for the long haul. Because at Founders Federal Credit Union, we understand how busy your day can be. And worrying about your financial matters shouldn't slow you down. So go ahead, keep cheering your team on to another win. After all, you've got enough on your plate. Relax. You're with Founders.
All right, we're back here live at the Farm Bureau Insurance Classic. I'm Sylvester Williams, Slider Sports Guy, joined by the one and only Kerry Rich. As we get ready for some fourth quarter action, man, we're sitting up here talking basketball, enjoying everything that's going on here at Dorman High School, or as some people like to say, Dorman University.
Yes, I think that's more fitting.
I'm telling you, what a great place. You know, it's one of these things when you ride down 26, you see that stadium from the road. Oh, man, gotta love Dorman High School. But we got a good basketball game going on right here. Glover being guarded by Tate, and they're going to call timeout. Timeout on the play. We're going to slow things up.
And also, Slacken, I appreciate you guys for, taking part and finding a way to give this event even more coverage, because ultimately not only does it gives the school more publicity, but ultimately we are in this for the kids.
Yep,
and we're in this to expose and give them the right kind of exposure. We are in a day where there's a lot of manipulation, there's a lot of trickery, and there's a lot of vulnerability, unfortunately, that's sometimes counterproductive for our kids. So it's good that you guys are here in this component, in this form, that's going to generate the right type of interest, the right type of exposure for our young people.
And that's one of the mottos and one of the cornerstones that SUV TV is built on exposing, getting the kids the right type. Oh, look at Amari Harris working on the inside, doesn't finish it. Dre will get the rebound and put it back up and in. Dre Butler. But that's one of the things we're built on. We're built on exposure for these young kids, just getting the word out. And here's the thing that I love so much about doing this. You're broadcasting this game. Newton, they're a long way from home. It's about 3 hours from Newton to Atlanta. But as this game is going on, I got half of the town of Newton tweeting me, telling me what's going on, how did I pronounce the kid's name right or wrong, telling me I'm doing a great job, telling me I'm doing a terrible job. But I just love the community spirit, how they fall behind their kids when they can't make it to a tournament like this. And it's just one of the things at SUV TV we love.
Yeah, and just the entire Atlanta area, that's been a hotbed for basketball talent for a long, long time. And even being in Columbia, being in South Carolina for such a long time, I've always said, if you're at South Carolina, if you're at Clemson, you got to find a way to get into Atlanta, that area, to recruit those kids, because there are some really good basketball players down there. And AAU has a major, major presence. And some of the high schools also have a big presence when it comes to the talent area down there. I'm telling you, so much talent in the Atlanta area, man. It surprised me. Being a Columbia guy, I came here, and I'm originally a football guy, Kerry. I love football. That's where I am. That's how I went to college on the Oh, good pack off the backboard by Tate. Did they count the basket? Did they count the rebound? I'm not even sure if they counted the rebound. Oh, well, anyway, being a football guy, when I got to Georgia, I was doing a lot of broadcasting and radio with football. But then Marcus came along and said, hey, man, it's a lot of basketball around here in Atlanta. It is, yes.
There's a lot of basketball. And I just enjoy it. I enjoy seeing all the young talent. I remember guy by the name of Colin Sexton. Oh, he's over at Alabama doing it up at Alabama. But I remember I remember the kid as a sophomore. He was at Hill Grove and couldn't get off the bench at Hill Grove.
Now he's one of the most talked about freshmen in all of college basketball.
Exactly. I love seeing the growth of these young men. And Marcus was talking, we were talking during the break about Sindarius Thornhill. We saw him a couple of years ago at this very tournament when he was playing for Lancaster.
And Lancaster. And you know the one thing about Sindarius, I got a chance to see him play every single game at the University of South Carolina. And, you know, he epitomized everything Frank Martin was about.
Yeah.
He became the epitome of what a leader was all about and how he was supposed to impact his team in a positive way. And he did it better or as well as anyone in the country. I don't think anybody impacted this team more than Sindarius Thornwell did last year for the South Carolina Gamecocks, even after being suspended for 9 games, and he was still able to lead that basketball team to, again, a magical run of getting to the Final Four.
A magical run. Boy, you're talking about a loyal, happy Gamecock during that tournament run last year. I think I have about 15 Gamecock shirts or whatever, Gamecock shirts and hats. I was wearing it so much in the city of Atlanta between the men's team and the defending national champion, Lady Gamecocks.
Who, by the way, speaking of Lady Gamecocks, the legendary, one of the best women basketball players to ever come through the University of South Carolina, Sheila Foster, is in the building tonight, and she just finished her last treatment of cancer, and she's wearing her championship ring given to her by Dawn Staley. So it was good to catch up with her tonight. It's always good to run into Gamecocks.
It's always good to run into the Gamecock family. Man, I tell you, but I was definitely one happy Gamecock this summer. I mean, that last spring. My good, I'm always a happy Gamecock. What am I talking about, man? I always love those Carolina Gamecocks. Miles Tate is continuing the score, continuing to put the basket.
He's going to have to be really, really good. I think Newton's size is finally kind of taking its toll on Dorman and wearing him down a little bit. Newton getting a lot of second chance opportunities via offensive rebounding, and that's hard to combat. And now because of what they've been able to do inside the paint, they're kind of playing. They're giving them some space, giving them some room on the perimeter, and as we saw the last possession, giving them too much room because they knocked down a wide-open 3.
And you know, something else about this Newton team that's going to be really impressive, and it's going to carry later on during the season. They're beating a really, really good Dorman team, and they're beating them without Ashton Higgins. Now, as soon as I say that, Higgins comes back into the game.
Who's pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
You know, I hadn't seen him. I'm here with one of my good friends who partners with me on many of the events that I do back in Columbia. I do about 4 different basketball events, and you know, he was trying to point the young man out to me, and he pointed out the wrong man. I said, "You sure?" Because he just made one heck of a pass that's not the norm for a high school player. And right after that, he came down and made a pull-up 3, and my partner looked at me and said, "You know what? You were right, Kira." I said, "It doesn't take me long to figure it out, especially at that position. I played that position."
Exactly. Exactly. You can pick out a point guard. You know, and that's a testament of this tournament. Oh, 3-ball Tate.
He knows how to play the game. He's not afraid of the moment. He embraces the moment. And, again, I know a lot of people may be somewhat turned off by his size, but he has that it factor that could trump the perception or connotation that's going to come with his physical makeup, his physical stature.
I got 27 points for the young man
27.
right now. That's 27 by my unofficial scorebook. And I'm a history major, so you know math isn't my thing. But, yes, sir, that young man, I love what you said. And the thing is, it's like, who's going to be afraid of him because of his size? Because whoever is afraid of him, that's going to be somebody else's game. Because I don't care wherever he goes, he's going to make an impact, man. He's going to be a big-time point guard for some program for some years to come, man.
Well, he has that innate ability to play the position, to think the position that can't be taught. I just had a conversation with South Carolina head basketball coach yesterday, Frank Martin. They're getting ready to head to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the Ole Miss Rebels tomorrow, 6 o'clock. And we were just talking about that position, and I was joking with Frank because he's struggling at the point guard position right now. And I said, you know what? It's so easy to teach a player to dribble the ball up the floor, so easy to teach a player to yell out the instructions, yell out the plays, but it's those innate qualities that can't be taught. Listening skills, leadership skills, communication, just being able to, have that infectious personality where your guys and your teammates want to follow you and want to rally behind you, rally around you. You don't have those things, it's very difficult to play that position.
It's very difficult.
And he has those things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, he has them. And look at him, he's trying to run off the pick. Now, this is an interesting matchup. Now, Ashton Higgins is guarding Miles Tate.
Yeah, by the way, we're talking a whole lot about Tate. Higgins is pretty good, too. He has all of those things, too. This is my first time seeing him, and foul trouble has kind of limited his action. And, selfishly, I wanted to yell to the officials, hey, this is one of the biggest names in the tournament. Find a way to let him play unless he's knocking someone out, just creating an unbelievable advantage. Let this guy stay on the floor. People are here to see this young man.
Exactly. Look at him stop, pull up for the three-point. Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Stop, pull up, and knock down the three. That's 30
play
points.
The game. He has 30. Can play the game.
But yeah, sometimes I'm a diehard zebra hater when it comes to these guys. Sometimes wanting to be the star of the show. Marty Harris battling hard for that rebound. I'm a diehard zebra hater because it seems like sometimes they want to be the focal point of the game. But hey, nobody came. What did they say on the Temptations? Ain't nobody came to see you, Otis.
And you know what? I during my playing days at South Carolina, I was fortunate enough to be the speaking captain for 2 years. I didn't have a co-captain. So I played for a coach, Eddie Fogler, who was really, really well-versed on the rules. And because he was well-versed, he would constantly challenge the officials, and the officials wouldn't talk to him. So what he would do is plant the question with me, and I would have to go to the official, and they would explain to me their rationale behind making a call, and you wouldn't believe how much that impacted my ability to now understand the game through their eyes.
Exactly.
Unbelievable perspective.
Ball will bounce around, rebound, put back up, follow, Peppers. I've been watching this young man, Lucas Peppers. He's a senior. He's 6'4", senior, works in the post. He comes off the bench for this Dorman team. And maybe because his last name is Peppers, he just reminds me of Julius Peppers when he played at the University of North Carolina.
Are you a North Carolina fan?
Oh, I'm definitely not a North Carolina. I'm definitely not a North Carolina.
I was looking at your shirt, and I was trying to figure out whether it was Carolina blue or not.
I had on the blue just in case. You know what? The one time I became a North Carolina fan is I rooted for North Carolina had a 5'1", 95-pound soaking wet point guard who played for the Lady Tar Heels, the one and only Ivory Latta.
Ivory Latta.
That is the only time I ever rooted for North Carolina. Oh, find the big man on the inside. Good entry pass.
Great entry pass, too much size, great recognition to be able to get it in there to his big man. And you know what? He didn't play around with it. Turned, scored it at the basket, got one with it.
Marty Harris, he's a 6'6", maybe 6'7" junior. One great thing about this tournament, we all stay in the same hotel. We all stay at the Marriott Hotel. And I happened to, this morning or yesterday morning, I was eating breakfast with some of the Newton assistant coaches, and they were saying that we were working with Amari Harris, working with him on his inside post moves and letting him be an effective big man working with his back to the basket. They said he used to do what I call the worst big man move ever. Look at Tate throwing that one up. The worst big man move ever. They catch the ball in the paint and put it on the ground and dribble. But they say that's been something they've been working on, catching it, keeping it up high, and going back up with it.
Well, we saw that work and preparation come to surface just a few moments ago because that's just what he did. He caught the basketball, he was patient, turned, went directly to the basket, scored it, and that's what you want to see from your big men. So make sure you let those assistant coaches know that their work certainly hasn't gone unnoticed.
There it is. Scramble for the ball. Tate will pull it out. Now Tate will push it up court. Tate with the shovel pass to PJ. PJ will be fouled and go into the line. And you know, we keep talking, I guess we keep harping on it because it bothers me so much that these big men, no one knows how to play with their back to the basket. You remember back in the day they used to have the Pete Newell big man camp. And it makes me wonder what happened to those type of camps for the big men, you know?
Well, because, I mean, think about the game. Think about the NBA right now, and think about high-level college basketball. You don't even have many true back-to-the-basket big men anymore. Matter of fact, you don't even have the power forward position like we used to see the power forward position with Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Charles Oakley. Those days are gone. Now what you have is, we call them two positions, the stretch four or the hybrid four. Hybrid four is someone that can play both positions, and you can kind of manufacture that 5 spot right now.
Exactly.
But the one position that you can't manufacture, regardless of what you do, is that of the PG position.
No.
You got to have a floor leader. You got to have a quarterback. You got to have a floor general. And you can manufacture and kind of mix and match the rest of the positions across the floor. But you can't do it with that position.
I sit and talk. I love to sit down and talk basketball. I was going through my Facebook page, and you know how Facebook pulls up those memories. And I had an interview with X-Man. This was when his son was at Hammond.
Yes.
So this was about 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm sitting up here thinking to myself, X-Man couldn't play today.
No.
he couldn't.
He was too physical.
He was too Charles Oakley, they might not be allowed in the league today. Not with the way they play ball.
Matter of fact, his son is doing well out in Rio Grande Valley, out in Texas. He's doing well. I think he's the second leading scorer on the team now. Bouncy, athletic, playing well from the perimeter. Always going to play hard defensively. He's so versatile, can guard 5 different positions. So try to keep up with all of our Columbia guys, all of our South Carolina guys.
Oh, yeah. I ran into Tevin Mack not too long ago. He transferred to Alabama. Yeah. I think last year I got to see 7th. I saw 7th Woods. Saw 7th. And once again, I'm this selfish. I'm not afraid to admit I am a selfish Carolina fan. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Well, that's a great point, and I know where you're going. And I'll just say this: all of those guys that you're mentioning, I wish there was a way that they could stay at South Carolina or Clemson. But here's the difference: you see that happen in football.
Yes.
And the reason it happens in football is because many of the high school football coaches want to see their young men or their young people play at either South Carolina or Clemson, depending on which side of the aisle you're on. Unfortunately, there isn't that support in the basketball world.
Yeah.
And until we get that support, South Carolina and Clemson, Frank Martin and Brad Brownell, unfortunately, will continue to lose a lot of that in-state talent to schools like Alabama, schools like North Carolina, and that shouldn't be the case. You're not going to get them all, but that shouldn't be the case. Just like Georgia and Georgia Tech shouldn't lose that many kids, especially with the number of kids they have to choose from in that Atlanta area. They shouldn't lose many of those kids to the neighboring states or neighboring schools.
They shouldn't. And we actually saw Mark Fox on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? We saw Mark Fox on Wednesday. We had the Tournament of Champions. I guess if you want a split screen, we have the Tournament of Champions going on right now as we speak. No. First game tips off at 7:30. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. First game tips off at 7:30 for the Tournament of Champions. But we saw Mark Fox there, and I spoke to Mark briefly, and he signed Ashton Hagans, a guy playing in the game in the next game. JoJo Toppin. He signed JoJo Toppin to go to Georgia, a big-time recruit out of Norcross, and a young guy by the name of Elias King. And Elias King announced that he was committing to Georgia. And he's a class of 2019 young man, committed on my very show during halftime. And Mark Fox talked about it. He says, man, there's so much talent right around 285.
Yes.
I really don't have to leave.
And speaking of Mark Fox, this is a big year for Mark Fox. And he's lost some of his key assistant coaches because of their inability to land many of those kids from the Atlanta area. One of my good friends who's just recently at Coastal Carolina was on the staff at Georgia, Stacey Palmore.
Okay.
And one of his downfalls was the inability to land those guys over in Atlanta. And if you can't land any prospects out of Atlanta, if you're coaching at Georgia Tech and Georgia, I'm just telling you, not even being from there, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to sustain or build any type of successful run at the University of Georgia.
Exactly. Look at Hagens coming down with a pinned on the backboard PJ, but they're going to call foul on PJ Brown. But yeah, I said PJ Brown. You got me thinking about the NBA. PJ Hall, not PJ Brown. 25 seconds to go, 12-point lead for Newton. But yeah, it's just maintaining that cap on your home state. If you can do that, it's just such basketball-rich tradition, And one thing, I remember at one time, South Carolina had a spell of All-American. You go with Stanley.
During my day.
Yeah, you go with Stanley Roberts and JoJo English. Then you got yourself. And, we had all of that talent in the Columbia area. And then you kind of hit a little dry spell after Jerome Harper. You hit a little dry spell the late 90s and the early 2000s. But then recently, that talent level's picked back up.
Well, it started with you're right. There was about a 7-year drought. Considering Columbia was the mecca of basketball in South Carolina.
Yes.
And you talked about many of those players that came through. I was fortunate to be a part of that group that came through. But there was about a 7 to 8 year drought. And then came along P.J. Dozier, who was a McDonald's All-American, who could have gone anywhere in the country. Seven Woods, who was a high school phenom. Tevin Mack, who was so motivated. He was ultra motivated because he felt like he was the third wheel and he wasn't as respected as P.J. Dozier and Seven Woods. So he made himself into a national commodity, ended up signing with Texas. Now he's at Alabama. So those guys, and then you had Devontae Shuler right after that.
Yeah.
So those guys generated so much attention there in the Columbia area. But just to go back real quickly to South Carolina, Georgia, and Clemson, why it's so important for them to be able to keep some of those guys in state is because of this. The one common thread that's shared is they all play second fiddle to the football programs at their respective schools.
Yeah.
And that's hard. So you got to rely on those folks inside the state to help build your program. And when you're not able to get those players, it makes your job that much more difficult, especially playing second fiddle to football programs.
And here we are, the end of the ball game. The score is 75-65. Newton wins this one over Dorman High School here at the FBI Classic. I'm Sylvester Williams. He's Kerry Rich. It's been a pleasure just running our mouth about basketball. We're going to take a pause real quick, and then we're going to come back for the championship games here at the Farm Bureau Insurance Classic here on SUV TV.